I'm installing the tankless hot water heaters. I finally got this one installed. I use that little shelf temporarily. I'm probably gonna pull it off the wall. There it is. And I got some spooge, some sealant on the wall, so I gotta repaint that a little bit. But this is ready to roll, except for the gas hookup. And I'm working on the other one on the other side of the house. And I was drilling holes and cutting the hole, and lo and behold, it started raining, so I had to quit. So I used some quick zip tape from the inside out, just so water wouldn't get in there. And it stopped raining, so I'm gonna go finish that up. And now I'm gonna take the video out there and we'll do some time lapse on it. Anyway, tankless should be installed today. I do have to get the extensions for the gas, but that's about it. So here I'm trying to cut the hole for the exhaust for the tankless. I'm using a jigsaw, then I switched to a Sawzall and make it all work. The bad part was I actually didn't know it, but there's a PEX line for the hot water right there on the right side of the hole. I had to touch it. I touched it by accident. Obviously I didn't know it was there. And I had to do a splice into it. Not a big deal, just set me back a little bit. Major pain because there was spray foam all over it. I actually spray foamed the inside hole so you can't really see in, but it was a pain in the butt. What they didn't do is the elbow is actually the one they want you to use. Does not go flush on the wall. It has to go into the wall a little bit. I find that very odd, but whatever. So I mounted the tankless on the wall, tried to put the elbow straight through the outside of the wall, and the flange on the 90-degree elbow was about a ½ inch or more into the drywall. So I had to cut a big hole, made a mess. And then on the outside I used a Sawzall. I think I have a little time lapse of that one. But anyway, it wasn't a big deal. One I think it's 5-inch hole. Propped it. I actually sealed out they have the special tube that goes out so water can't get in. And I did some black sealant like I did on the windows, same stuff. That battery, I have to change the battery in a second here. So I'm gonna do the wax. It's a liquid wax. Let me show you what it is. These are all products, I think they're meant to all work together. So it's a liquid wax. You basically spray it on and then mop kind of a figure 8 around it to make it disperse properly on the floor. So that's what I'm gonna do. I put stuff in the same sprayer I used for the acid stain. I've got a gallon in there right now. We'll see how far it goes. I'm gonna start upstairs as normal so I don't have to walk in the wet wax. And it should dry 20-30 minutes, and that's the end of that. And then we're actually ready to do a bunch of other stuff. I'm gonna start doing some electrical sockets, mostly in my office, maybe even in Angie's office, and we're gonna light those sockets up. I'm gonna move some of my graphics cutting stuff in there. It's cooler in here than it is in the shop, so when I'm doing graphics, it should feel a lot better. I might have to put a ceiling fan up so I can get some light, or plug in a light, whatever. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, time lapsing in with the wax, and we'll go from there later. So here we start the wax process. Basically, I'm using the sprayer I used for putting the acid down. I filled it up, 1 gallon of wax, and I spread it out. You can see how white it is when I first start spreading it. The more wet the mop got, the better it actually worked. When it was dry, it was kind of flipping over back and forth. It's a cheap mop. They have better versions of this. I just, reduced the cost. But anyway, it did the trick. You're supposed to do like a figure 8 thing with the wax to make sure you cover everything. I think I was doing all right, but anyway, the floor looks good enough for us. We actually like the imperfection of the concrete floors. We've always been drawn to that. It's very natural looking. It feels really, really good on just walking around barefoot or even in socks, like I am right there. But anyway, easy peasy. I only had 2 gallons of this stuff, and I have about a ½ a gallon left over by the time I finished the entire house, so it worked out pretty good. So here I'm doing a master bedroom. You can see the sheen coming up a little bit when I do this. Hopefully I'm not boring you with doing, showing you too much of this mopping stuff, but you can see it plays off itself. We might have been able to put 1 more coat of clear on here, but you don't want to put too much clear on the concrete itself, because it'll add a kind of like oversaturate the concrete, and it might have bad effects on it. But we like the look. Hopefully you do too. We did not go obviously with a shiny version. This is a satin wax, and we did that on purpose. We're not into the glossy polished look of concrete.
it gets kind of slick, and it kind of like, I'm not a big fan of just looking through, you know, when you look outside or whatever and you see a big shiny blob on the floor. Not a big fan of that. So the satin finish kind of mutates all that, and anyway, we like it. So here we are, we're almost done here. This is the living room, the dining room area, and you can definitely see how it impacts the floor. And again, it's a protection, waterproofing, and we may have to do a little bit of touch up after we do the rest of the construction, because we're gonna probably muck up some areas. You know, we'll have to clean them and then redo a little bit of wax. The wax seems to re-energize the colors, so we'll from our past house, that's what we did. But it's cool stuff. Anyway, we're gonna enjoy it, and hopefully you guys will do as well. So later. So after the floor, I started doing electrical work. Basically, I'm going to be doing several days of that. I started with the ceiling fans first, and the light switches and stuff, just to make it more livable in the house, so we can turn the fans on. But this is pretty straightforward. The boxes that I used were for up to 75, 85 pound fans. These are about 35 pounds. They're Hunter fans, 5 blades. Super easy hookup. I'm using Wagos. Those are the clip-in connectors. Of course, power's off. And I just put the Wagos on, clip them together, shove the wires into the hole, and then continue with the build out of the fan. I like the way the Hunter fans actually hang. They have a bracket, and you hang it in a rubberized kind of isolator. It just hangs there. You can see it wobbling. Very easy to do that way instead of just a fixed fan right up to the ceiling. I know the old fans used to do that, but 3 bolts per fan. They were kind of a pain in the butt to get going. The light was not that great when I was looking through there, so it was always fun trying to find the holes for the screws, but no big deal. You know, put them in there, they kind of hang, and then you put the screws in, and then I use the electric drill to finalize the screws, and off we go. And then all these fans have LED lights on them, so actually the entire house is LED based. We don't have anything halogen or incandescent light, so everything is LED as well. So pretty easy on the electrical side, and very efficient. Here you see me doing the final screw up on the blades. I fixed them all in there, and then I went around and used the electrical the drill to actually pop them all in there solidly. And here I'm doing the light. You have to it comes with a cover. You have to cover off, and then you actually replace it with a light that comes in the kit as well. And we're not overly excited about the color of the light itself. They're not overly bright, so we might actually end up changing some of that later on with a little bit of more of a brighter LED, but we'll see how that goes. All this stuff snaps in, a couple screws, and off you go. Pretty easy. So I had 7 or 8 of these to do. I believe it was 8. So you know, it took a little while. Each one of these takes right around a half an hour, a little bit over that. I'm taking my time. It's very hot in Texas at this point in time, so getting all sweaty and bothered. So I wasn't in a rush. I'm not in a rush at all doing this house at this temperature level. We do have AC. We don't have any thresholds or seals on the door, so we're not running the AC, but we could if we wanted to. Just be blowing money out the door. But anyway, here we go with the LED lights. They're very low wattage, but everything's very simple to put together. These are fairly nice Hunter fans, and they actually work quite well.
Hey guys, Vijay here, Blueberry Hill, so July 2nd. So I'm doing a couple of little things today, nothing big. We're going to a party, the July 4th, from brother-in-law's. So I'm just doing some wiring of the offices. I'm doing switches. I just finished wiring up my office, the light switch, that's working. I'm doing the bathroom right now. I'll show you that. I have a double switch and then a single switch. One's for shower light and the fan, and the other one is for the light over the vanity. We don't have a light there yet. That's I don't even think we had it picked out. So Anyway, that's after cabinets and all that fun. I'll have to check with Angie, see if we got the light for that. I could put it up if we have it, but I don't think we do. Anyway, pretty simple. So I'm using the Wagos, if you remember from many episodes back. Those are the clip things, you know, these little guys. They're fantastic, right? You strip the conductor and then just snap them in, close it, and you can undo, redo, whatever you want. And they're extremely positive connection. I don't like tire wraps because they tend to get loose over time. Tire wraps and nuts. So I'm not a fan of those. I did use them for a couple of the fans. I don't think I videotaped that much, but a couple of areas where it's just harder to get into. So I use a nut or two and a couple of fans, but most of them are these Wagos. The other ones are the ones they sell at like Home Depot. They're the clip-in ones, and to undo them you have to like wiggle and pop them open if you ever have to do that. But anyway, these Wagos are great. I actually put them so I could put wires together so I know how I'm going to wire the switches and the lights later. So they're controls. A lot of these come off and you'll see me wire the switch up physically to the screws. Normally, like for sockets, I run pigtails off of the socket, snap them into the Wago, done. There's no wire, nut turning, no bending wire, no nothing. It just snaps in and you're good to go. We did the pigtails earlier on all the sockets. I'll show you that later. But anyway, so I'm going to switch to time lapse and show you guys the actual wiring up of the switch. I already did the double switch. It's the same thing as a single, just double the wires. So anyway, switching over to time lapse and we'll see in a bit.
Well, the time lapse is pretty quick, but hopefully you get the idea. So the switch on the left, that's a 2-switch setup, and here I'm showing you the single one. The single switches are super easy. It's just hot wire bottom, top wire, whatever your device you're lighting up. So here I'm going to show you kind of real time, just wiring a normal switch in. It just takes, the bottom wire is generally the hot, the upper wire is usually the device, which is a light or fan or whatever. And then of course the neutral. So basically the switch is breaking the hot wire on off, and all the switches in the entire house I actually do screw wire in, not the Wagos. The Wagos are all sockets and everything else and lights. So pretty straightforward though. Once you get them hooked in, I always have trouble getting the wires hooked in, but once you do, there you go. And then I'm using the pliers to kind of like make sure there's a nice tight physical bond on the wire, on the screw, and then I tighten up the screw and we're good to go. So I do like using power tools, so instead of just using a screwdriver, you know, I've got like 90 of these things to do. Well, I'm not sure about light switches, maybe like 30 or 40, but overall boxes we have, I think, right around 90 something. So fun times. And of course then you just do the screw into the box and try to level it out to the wall. Wall plates will come later. I might actually put the wall plate on this one as I go, but typically I did put everything in, and then later on I followed up with the plate. Yeah, so I use the extension to actually pry the switch to the right or left sometimes. You definitely have to have the power off on that, you know, do not zap yourself. Of course, all the circuits I'm playing with are off. I did get zapped a couple times because I forgot here and there, but you know, 120 volt, big deal. All the warnings they give you, it just tingles to me, no big deal. But there it is.
And I'll be right back. We'll see if it.
So watch quickly because this goes fast. You just snap in, close it, screw it down, and then you're done. I should have real time that one. Here's a light going into the hallway. This is a 3-light LED spotlight setup. You just put a bracket in there, and again, everything's Wago. So you just snap the wires into the Wago itself, shove it in there, and basically screw the light to the ceiling. That's it. Done. Very easy, very nice, very simple implementation. Here's a version of what's called a moonlight. They call it moonlight. The bracket's really nice. You actually screw that to the box. Here we go. I put one screw in there. Here we go. Tighten it up. And now everything, just 2 wires, very low power LED. It's down a little bit. Here I'm doing a real-time version of the same thing I did just a few seconds ago. It went by too fast, so I figured I'd show you guys. So these are like the real Wagos, the clip-in ones, not the Home Depot versions. The Home Depot versions, they're just snap-ins. These actually have physical clips. You open them and close them, and it goes fairly nice. All this pre-wiring that I took all that effort to do initially pays off at this point. There's really nothing to do but have pigtails on the plugs, shove them in the Wagos, put the thing in a wall, screw it down, and you're good to go. So very simple, very easy. There's no wire nuts to worry about. Again, I hated wire nuts forever. Again, I did use a couple in the lights for they're very small wires, so I wasn't too worried about it. But I have seen those arc up and come apart, not from what I did, but from other people's work. So I get paranoid on that one. But these are physical connections. They clip in, they're positively clipped on, and good to go. And I do test all these, by the way, with a tester once I go. So these are 20 amp. That's what I'm trying to tell you there. So these guys are pretty consistent, high power. So here I'm doing I think this is in my office. I'm actually scribing a little bit around the box, and then you see those are the clips from Home Depot. Those were just holding the wires together. I needed to do, it's a double socket, so I had to go to a 5-prong Wago. You could use a 4, that's what it really called for. I didn't have any 4. So I'm using 5s, and then 2 plugs. So you open a clip, you shove it in there, and it possibly holds onto the wire with the pigtails. Very nice setup, very positive. You don't have to worry about twisting wire or nothing like that. So, and of course, the wires hang the plug off by themselves. You don't have to worry about none. Plenty of room, and then just shove them in the box when you're done. Pretty simple. I really like the setup. Much better than what I've seen in the past. Some other examples on YouTube and stuff on wiring these things. But once you put them in, set them up so they're nice and even, and then we'll do wall plates later.
All right, so this is in the bathroom, in the what we call the apartment. There's 3 things going on here. One's for the fan, one's for the shower light, and one's for the main light on above the vanity. So whatever we call it, I guess you can call it vanity. So we're gonna have a double switch, which looks like this. On this side, that'll be the light and the fan, and then a single one for the normal light for the vanity. I think that feels more natural. So we're going to go through that process and wire this baby up. It's hard to see in here, but there's a power wire coming in. Of course, everything's off. The main light is underneath there, and that's for the, you can kind of see it if I move that wire. There we go. Shower, actually that's a shower. My bad. Right, so that's the shower one. So this is a common junction. I'm using the Wagos. That's got power in, and that provides power to every other switch, etc. So I'm doing the shower light on the bottom, the fan top left, and then the main switch on the right for the light. So I'm gonna do the double light first, the double switch first. It's pretty straightforward. It's got 2 in, 2 out, and a neutral. So you're good to go. I hope that's the right switch. I actually might have the wrong one for, I'll be right back. I'm gonna double check, make sure I grabbed the right one. All right, so these double switches, they allow you to do whichever side you want. You can power it up either this way or that way. So this one's powered up this way. The second one's not. The other direction toggle, and that's not powered. So I don't know which one I'm going to do. I think when I do this, I want it on. When I do that, I want it off. So that's off. That's on. So I'll probably connect the actual circuits for the fan and the light to the ones that go in that direction for on. It kind of makes sense if they're in this position they're off, and this position they're on. So we'll make that work. And I believe the other switch I used I bought 2 different versions of this one. It was a single terminal on this side, so it didn't allow you to choose. You just wired it up one way and that was it. So that's why I was a little confused on it. But anyway, we got that working. So we'll make sure that that's the one. So this way's on, this way's off. So shower, light for the shower, fan. So I'm going to connect one first and the other. It always takes one neutral for both these, so that's great. I can just plug that one directly onto the switch itself. There might not be enough room for me to do a Wago connection on that puppy, but we'll make this one work. Okay. So I'll probably take the Wagos off. Just hold it right there. Let me do my little extra. I always do this. So I always like pinching the wire close around the nut. That way, even if it loosens, there's still a positive connection, will not disconnect. I have this on certain torque settings so the screws are nice and tight. Okay, so power. This is for the shower. Again, it's off. The shower light. I'm gonna have to strip the wire a little bit to do the loop-loopy. This will do these top ones too. This is for the fan. So I could shove Wagos in there, but it gets these boxes get really full if you start doing that. So for switches, I have not been putting Wago connections inside. For sockets, I have. Then I'll do the actual light for the main light for the vanity later. Okay, so then we're gonna curl. So the power in is on the right side, so they curl this way. Get this one out of the way. This is for the actual switch. It's gonna be fun jamming all this junk in there. No big deal. Okay, so this is power for both the switches. I do those first. One came off right. That's why I like bending them over so they don't come off. Come on, baby. There we go. So tie those down. Okay, so again, this is off position, on position. So it's easy to see when you're leaving the room if they're on. Well, you believe will tell because they're going to be on. And just to verify, I'm going to make sure. I already know, but I'm just going to double check it. It's the second wire from the bottom. So this should be on. Nope, this one's on. Okay, this one's off. Oh, I have to turn it on. That's off. That's on. So I want this one on. Okay, so I'm doing the upper ones. Holy moly! Nothing like confusing everything. So the shower, that's the bottom one. Fan is the top one. Curl it that way downwards. Let me get on this side of that. So you curl it in the direction you're screwing the wire, or the screw down. There we go. You screw them down so it doesn't strip out, curl around. Okay. I'm going to double check, because I always do, when the switch is on. So this is on, that's off. Same thing with the bottom. Very good. So we'll just verify that. The screw we're not using, we're just going to tighten it down. Oops. There, that one's done. So easy peasy. I don't actually need this light. Lights are connected, so we're good. Okay. Just ramrod it all in there. That's always the fun part. tight. Neutral's always on that side. Two positives. Normal switch. Normal switches are easy. Black wire. Neutral. So that's that one. And these two are the other way. Yup. It's a little bit tight in here. It's okay. I'm using, again, number 12 wire, so everything's a little thicker. All this stuff is made for 14. So it's kind of hard to get in there sometimes. There we go. Flip it around. Okay. Should have moved. Not neutral. I keep calling the ground neutral. I have no idea why I keep doing that. I think I might have said that in a couple of videos already too. My bad. That's ground. Green's ground. There we go. Alright, now we just shove it all in there. Make sure it's going to lay flat. Okay, there we go. So, 3 switches. And 2 gang blocks. Wasn't too bad, a little sloppy, sorry for that, but that's reality for me.
So here I'm putting in the actual shower light. It's a little LED, just flush mount to the ceiling, very easy to install. The only fun part here is you have to line up the screw holes to the actual box. That was, like, you couldn't see in there, so I had to use a flashlight here and there to make sure I was poking the screws in the right place. Once you do that, there you go. Make sure the holes are lined up for the screws, pop them in there, and then once that's done, you just kind of pop in the cover and you're done. And these LEDs are really
July 6th, I just placed an order for all the baseboards from Home Depot. I'm going to be using an MDF, so that's coming, and I'm going to start doing a few areas. I'm not sure how long it's supposed to take for delivery, maybe a week, but anyway, that's going to be underway. I'll do it in the bathroom, so I can put the toilet and bathtub in and stuff like that. But anyway, that's on order. We saved a few dollars because they had a 10% off for whatever. Anyway, I'm continuing doing the electrical. I'm almost done. I'm in the apartment spare room area. Just finished doing the sockets in the bedroom. I'm going to put in the light in the foyer, whatever you want to call it, the entry to the spare room. We're basically using kind of cool looking lights. We think they're cool. They're really flush against the ceiling. They're all LED. Everything we're doing is LED. There's no point in going incandescent or anything else. The brightness and the color of the lights are great. These things they look pretty cool. We've already installed a couple of these smaller versions in a couple of places, and they're super easy to install. They basically have a backing plate you pull off. You screw that to your receptacle, and then this clips in there. You can see how little wattage this thing has. Tiny wires, so I don't expect we're going to be using a whole lot of electricity per se, but anyway, again, everything's LED. Once I do this, I'll fire up this area, make sure the lights work, the fans are on, and all the sockets work. I do a test with a prong tester, make sure every socket's alive, just in case I did something funny. So far so good, so we're good there. Anyway, I'm gonna flip the time lapse and we'll install this light.
So here's a quick light install again. This is a moonlight. You see the bracket going down, everything's kind of snapping, goes to the ceiling. You see the Wagos hanging down, just a plus and neutral, snap them in, and I find out the light's not in the right lumen area. It's bright. We like the 3K, so change it, switch of a thing, and off we go. Here you see me doing my last light. This is a chandelier light with crystal balls, 16 of them. That was fun. It wasn't hard to install. It's about a 45-pound light, so it definitely needs some support. It's got a kind of an X that I screwed into the 2x right by the box, and then 4 bolts. It's kind of like a crisscross pattern for the bolting it up to the ceiling, and then now I'm undoing the wires that hang down and hold the crystal balls. Again, LED lights as well. They're all different heights. They're kind of in a spiral fashion. I end up doing this, and then a couple days later I redo it and move every single one of the wires up 12 inches so that people don't get hit in the head with the crystal ball. So they're a little bit low on the stairs, but they're okay now. And I didn't videotape that part because it was real fun. Yeah, not totally. So the light was pretty easy to install. Here you see the light's kind of vibrating because there's air movement through the whole place. But everything's working. The lights ended up being a little bit too low on the stairway, so I had to move them up. A couple days later I redo the whole thing, take it all apart, take down the bracket, and then move all the wires up 12 inches, and they should be good to go for the stairway. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching. This is it for this video. A lot of little stuff happening. Next video is going to be toilets and hopefully cabinets and a bunch of other cool things happening. Talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.